Thank you for coming so quickly. I'm sure at least one of my haters is already, well, will be the one, the two of you watching. It wasn't me who suggested that my haters have particular psychological problems, and one of the more interesting ones, hello Howard, nice to see you. One of the more interesting theories is that they can't get over the fact that it is me, of all people, saying these things. They think it should be one of them, one white male person. I think that I think is what is knocking Joe out, as well as Ralph, as well as Jay. So let's go through them one by one about their psychological makeup, shall we say. Jay hasn't got that much cachet with other white men. He confesses that he mainly hangs out with women, and he would have to therefore associate his success in life as measured by his access to pussy. That's how he measures his success in life, because we know he's not a wealthy man, and he didn't really complete his education, or he got too he's not an educated man. He could have been an educated man if he had, paid attention at school. He could have gone to university. He could have become a CEO, but he didn't. He didn't, because he defied his parents. He, basically defied everyone else and just preferred low company. What explains his attraction to me then? He's a person who's attracted to low company, obsessed with celebrity. He thought I was some kind of internet celebrity, and he thought he might, butter me up the way he buttered up Katie Hopkins, and then, would casually betray confidences, because that is how people like Jay assert their power over others, through dishonorable means, and they don't even know it. Probably, it's their atheism and nihilism that makes them behave that way. They need their kind of ego hit, and their ego hit is to insult and abuse others, to defame and libel them, and then say it was all a joke. And we know lots of people like that. What I find most repellent about him is that he pretends to be Christian. We know he isn't Christian. He's not a confirmed Christian. He doesn't believe Jesus is God, but he likes going to church because he thinks through going to church he will have access to people who will flatter his ego. Howard, how nice of you to say that I have fans. I mean, feel free to tell me what it was. I know Joe was discussing me on Thomas Barton Rees, and I guess I am this kind of irritating person, a gadfly, if you please, because I pose this question to these immoral liars who believe in nonsense. These men who claim to be nationalists but are unable to even engage with me in the discussion of the definition of nationalism, which I propose should be government in the national interest. But back to Jay. He's just obsessed with me because, I'm one of the women who said no, and he can't bear that. Of course, he pretends that he never, he always accepted that I was never interested in him. But, you pay attention to his comments that are, have sexual innuendo that he might have, done it with me or something like that. And then he'll say, oh, I was only joking. In fact, I remember a song to the effect of, I was only joking, my dear. And Jay is one of life's jokers, and he wants to come on to this channel as a guest to be this Islamophobic clown, to entertain the Islamophobic viewers. But there is no point talking to people who don't believe in what they say. He's very angry with me for allowing Judas on, because Judas is known to have mental health issues, and I allowed him on. But then it was Karani Yule, and Karani Yule is about the guest. And if he wanted to come on, and if he was sweet enough to buy new clothes to be on this show, then why not? Karani Yule has always been about the guest rather than about me, because outside the season of Karani Yule, I get to say what I want on my channel. So that's what Karani Yule is all about. But Jay wanted to be on Karani Yule. There were people who popped up and said, you haven't invited me, what's wrong? Which I find immensely flattering. But the problem with Jay is that he, like many, many, many Western men, can only, particularly the ones who are not wealthy, can only use their sexual success or their sexual access to women as a measure of their success. We know other men who do it. People like Luke Ford. And Jay, I remember, had an obsession with people with narcissistic personality disorder. He said Luke had narcissistic personality disorder, and he recognized all the signs, which we can deduce, can't we, that he is a person suffering from narcissistic personality disorder, and that is why he clamors for attention so much of the time. He wants to be on my channel. Why can't he make friends with other people and be on their channels? And we know that he managed to do this with these white nationalists, and unfortunately, for him, he pissed them off so much that they won't even talk to him anymore, because what he can't help is he likes sneering at people. So he congratulates himself for being, sharing exactly the same views as these white nationalists who hate Jews, who hate Muslims. But, he regards himself as being too smart to say it out loud. And we can imagine that he would have told them in so many terms, in so many words, until they got tired of him and decided to boycott him. And now he's only left with me. Jay has admitted that he spends more time with women than with men. This is a tragedy for him, because any man that spends more time with women than with his fellow men are, something wrong with them. Why would you just spend your time with women the whole time? They have nothing to offer you other than sex, right? So this is my advice to women. Shun men who spend too much time with women, because that advertises the fact that he has daddy issues and he can't submit to authority. He can't accept that there might be somebody higher in status than he he enjoys, and he doesn't enjoy much of a high status. And what he can't help is that he will have to be insolent, he will have to be abusive, and he will say things to destroy any chance of there being a working relationship, because he will have said the worst thing he can possibly say just to indulge his ego. It's not necessary for him to say these things, but he has to say it because he knows the power of words to wound people, and he enjoys that. He loves that. He even admits that this is part of his problem. He wants to be right. He wants to scramble above others in status, and he can only do this by saying nasty things and also contradicting himself, that people who see enough of him eventually discover that he doesn't believe in anything he says other than the cheap ego trip of being able to hurt, to injure, to upset that person. I am wise to his ways, so I don't really care what he thinks. It would be foolish of me to care what somebody with such mental health issues as he thinks. But he is a fascinating study in neurosis and narcissism. And unfortunately, many Western men suffer from the same thing, particularly if they don't have much money and have to measure their success in life by sexual access to women whose morals they do not respect. And they hate themselves, and that is why when they release their poison, and I am on the receiving end of it, it is so very toxic. He hates having to pretend to agree with these liberal women. He hates not being able to say what he really thinks to them, because if he did, he would be a pariah. And he clings to these dim-witted, white, liberal, middle-class women because it at least makes him think that he's doing well because women accept him. And that is how he operates. As for Ralph, somebody has suggested that he might be some kind of house husband, and that explains why he has so much time and he's not worried about being cancelled. And, of course, as a house husband, he would have, issues with self-esteem, and he would rage. And what better way of getting back at the white men who reject him by recruiting a viewership that would listen to him rail at other alt-right YouTubers. That, I think, is basically what he's about. He identifies himself as Christian, but his speech, his behavior is not Christian at all. But then I know enough of Christians to know that they basically have no rules. All they know is that if they claim to believe that Jesus is God, all their sins will be forgiven and they will get to heaven. And that is why Ralph cleaves to his Christian identity and panders to those who hate Jews, who hate Muslims, and, as you would expect, cleave to the religion of their ancestors, even though their ancestors suffered greatly because they were burnt at the stake for denying the divinity of Jesus. And he's obviously created a system that works for him, and that is to, talk about issues that white men might be concerned about: immigration, feminism, religion, and do the kind of thing that Jay does, but more cleverly because he went to a good school, but which never taught him any morals, not really. I'm afraid public school boys are not really the best source of morality, because what they are taught is to value their status, and to value their status means submitting to whatever political orthodoxy there is. So Ralph is not the only public school boy I know. I mean, I know others are just as cowardly, and obviously they think it's not in order for them to suffer for any principle they might have, and therefore they see principles as a hostage to fortune, and that explains how so many of our conservative politicians operate. They have no principles, and sadly, nationalists who have their best leader, well, in the sense that he could be perceived as being even vaguely prime ministerial. It was Nick Griffin, who was another public school boy, but he went to a public school that had girls in the sixth form, and you can imagine how that must mess with their minds. It's all about, well, if I'm successful, then I have access to women, but if I want access to women, I mustn't say a whole bunch of things. That is basically the source of neurosis for so many Western men. They don't know how to measure their success. And success for them, if they don't have a lot of money, is sexual access to women. And so they are in a bind. And the only way they can maintain their status is to do down others who speak the truth. So they can, sneer at them as Jay Walker sneers at white nationalists, because he knows that he's too clever to really say how much he hates Jews and how much he hates Muslims, while the others feel they have to at least express their antipathy to those groups. However, the whole point is that, well, the penny should have dropped by now. If you are always complaining about Jews and always complaining about Muslims, what do you lack? What do Jews and Muslims have in common that atheists, nihilists, anti-Semitic Islamophobes lack? It's very simple, isn't it? Unfortunately for people like Jay, they haven't made that leap, that logical conclusion that they would be able to come to if only they had their thinking caps on, if they weren't allowing their sex organ to do their thinking of them. Because I think Jay knows that secular Koranism is the answer. And his issue with me is that I'm not already famous and powerful and rich, and therefore he can't safely support me, and he has to give up too much. He has to give up too much pussy to say what he really thinks, and he can't do it. And he takes it out on me, and he wants to be on my channel, to be this Islamophobic clown, because that is the least he wants, to feed his ego. He wants access to, even if not sexual access, to middle-class women. As for Joe, well, Joe is the one who is totally obsessed by me, to the extent that he goes on other channels and talks about me endlessly, to the extent that Thomas Barton Rees mocks him for being in love with me. And it's so flattering, isn't it? He thinks that men don't like me. I've been rejected by men, but he is attracted to me as a fly is to fly paper, and he can't help it, because what he can't get round is the fact that he's helpless, really. He knows that he is helpless in his hatred. He's an educated man. He must be a graduate, judging by the grammar of his sentences. And what he can't bear, what his white racial pride can't bear, is someone such as I am saying what I'm saying. He can't find any white men proposing any solution that might work. He can't. But he sees me with my avatar, and it kills him inside. And it is also evidence of the moral flaccidity of Western men that I'm the only one who says these things. And I think he already knows that any white married man who said the things I do would be destroyed by his wife and his daughters. The wife would divorce him on grounds of no fault divorce. We know about all these women who threaten to divorce their husband if they voted Trump, right? In America, they do that. In Britain, they do that too. It's terrifying, isn't it? I haven't got a wife, thank goodness, hey? Just as well I don't have a wife. How would I manage her? That is not to say I don't like Western women. Most of them, well, actually, all of them that I can think of are, yes, they're white. They're white. They may not like me for what I say. They may not. Well, some of them might find me infuriating if I discuss politics with them. But I don't think I am fueled by hatred the way Joe likes to pretend I'm fueled by hatred. It is out of kindness and concern for Western men and women that I do what I do. Somebody must look after them. Somebody ought to care about them. Nobody else is interested in their views. I express it for them. And admittedly, I go far further than they would like me to, but in the end, they agree. They agree, but they dare not support me, and that is really the problem. They agree. And so I do support, I do seek the support of Western women. I mean, there is a particular Western woman that I would like, whose endorsement I seek, but, well, if she is frightened, it's because of, well, it's more excusable in a woman to be frightened, and she asks me to be patient. I suppose she wants to wait and see if I become powerful and successful and rich, and only then will she support me. I think that is really the problem. But it is right that I am not powerful or wealthy or famous, because you need to support me because you think I am right, not because you think I'm going to be dictator tomorrow. You have to support the truth because you believe it to be the truth. And you have to support my proposal because you think it is supported by sound arguments. That should be the only reason for you to support me, not because you think I'm going to win tomorrow. And if you don't understand that, then you won't understand the meaning of the Quranic verse that says, God will not change the lot of a people who do not change what is in their hearts. Yes, hate is easily transformed into love and vice versa. So Joe has this love-hate relationship with me because I'm the one that got away. I'm the middle-class woman who refused to countenance his nonsense. I tell him that he does believe in nonsense, that he is an immoral liar. It is intellectually repellent that he cannot accept that Christianity is kaput. It is tragic that he doesn't understand the burnt and bloody history of Christianity, and that the only way to revive Christianity is to start burning heretics at the stake again. And I don't think there is an appetite for this sort of thing after the First Amendment, which is based on chapter 2, verse 256 of the Quran. I have won all the arguments. And you can't bear it because I'm not white and I'm not a man. But perhaps the fact that I am neither white nor male is an intentional, additional humiliation. After all, you live in a matriarchy. What is the cause of the humiliation? Well, some might say, or circumstances. The circumstances of your culture, or if God exists, then it could have a divine source. Mythic Dawn, I don't know who you are. Thank you for your kind words. O_O, nice to see you. So Joe is, well, obsessed by me. I'm glad he's, going around reading reading The Battlefield of Love, this discontinued blog of mine on gender relations. He's going through all of it, and it's immensely flattering, and I'm very pleased, and I'm sure, Ralph is doing the same thing. And you know what? I don't mind if they steal all my ideas and express it as their own. I don't even care. And they will, because what I've noticed with people who hate my ideas is that eventually, after a period, they start using my ideas and pretend it's theirs all along. And it'll be very satisfying when it happens. But this is what you must understand. If you're going to fight this, you need to speak the truth because you believe it to be the truth, because truth is sacred in that it is crucial to your survival. You cannot do without it, and if you deny it, you will be endangering your own existence, your own society, your own civilization. And what we have to understand is when something is broken, irreparably broken, and it's indispensable to our continuing existence as a group, we have to take it out with the trash and bury its stinking rotten corpse, because if you don't, it will spread disease. Why do you think the dead are buried if they are not burnt? I didn't know that Ralph meant to vomit in Americanese. All right, half an hour I've got it off my chest. Thank you all for listening, and speak to you before too long, I hope. I'm on Twitter now. And I'm also, well, I can post on Facebook. I don't know how long it's going to last. But I think it's only a matter of time before secular Koranism gets to critical mass, because there are ideas that you cannot get out of your mind, because they are the only ideas that would work. And this is what is driving Ralph and Jay and Joe crazy. And I don't mind. Jay goes, rushes into Ralph's arms and, goes on his channel, which is bigger than mine, to slag me off. I don't care. I really don't care. And Joe should go too. And they should all have a wonderful party. And I might look in from time to time, because I'm not bothered. I'm not scared. Because that's how you have to be if you're going to make the point about Christianity and liberalism being both kaput. I do know the scale of what I'm trying to do. I am challenging 2,000 years of Christian history, or about 250 years of liberalism. I know what I'm doing. And if I were a timorous kind of lady, I would not be doing any of this, would I? Yes, thank you. Thank you, O_O. Well, try and share my tweets and, make encouraging noises, because that's the little that I hope you will do. I'm not asking you to go over the top and, get shot at by enemy soldiers. I'm just asking you to do a few things on social media that you would do anyway. And even if you don't agree, you should still try and propagate the message to hear what people who ought to have a solution have to say about my proposal. Thank you all for your attention.